Good afternoon, you wee bastards, and welcome back to another War Thunder video with Koala. So, today we get another devlog for update 1.87 to talk about, this one for the MiG-19s. That's right, two of them, that's what that S on the end means. We're getting two new planes. I'm just kidding. No, what this means is that Germany is joining the fray up at tier 6 this patch with their own supersonic jet, a new variant of the MiG-19 Farmer that will follow the GDR MiG-15 BIS in the tech tree, the refined and sporty late 50s model, the MiG-19S. So I'm sure most of you know the basics of the MiG-19 from the PT variant we already have in the Soviet tree. This particular variant is a slightly later model produced from 1956, which was sent to East Germany and deployed there by the Soviets in 1957, and then given to the East German Air Force, or, hold on a second, Luftstreitkräfte. Thank you to my Dutch girlfriend. In 1959. What this variant of the Farmer aimed to do was improve upon the firepower and handling characteristics of the existing MiG-19P, which at the time carried an armament of 3 23mm cannons, only later upgunned to the two 30mm cannons we see on our MiG-19 PT in-game. The S model was more refined than the earlier P model, achieving a greater top speed due to reduced weight, around 170 kilograms, and also gaining greater maneuverability due to some more refined aerodynamic qualities. In most regards, this is the same plane we already know, two engines, long fuselage, you get the picture. The MiG-19S also gains an extra 30mm cannon, now bringing the total up to 3, also you'll have more rounds with a total of 210, along with two types of ordnance consisting of two 250kg bombs or 4 unguided rocket pods. However, there seems to be a little bit of confusion as to how many rockets there are. So each pod carries 8 rockets, at least in these images, and yet just underneath that image, Gaijin says a total of 36 projectiles. So there are, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 rockets that aren't accounted for. Now, this cannot mean the bombs, as 2 of the MiG-19S's hardpoints were not able to carry bombs. It only carries 2 total. These extra hardpoints carried external fuel tanks or rockets only, and the devlog does state that there are only 2 bombs. So either Gaijin's made a typo here, or the pods aren't correctly modeled and are supposed to carry 9 rockets each, I don't know if that's correct, or they're counting the 4 pods themselves as additional projectiles. Or they're actually going to model drop tanks during this patch and actually make them droppable, which I think would be really cool. I've been wanting something like that in the game for ages. This would mean 2 drop tanks, 2 bombs and 32 rockets, totaling 36 different quote-unquote projectiles carried by the MiG-19S. However, the wording of the sentence makes me think that they just made a typo. It's meant to be 32, isn't it? God damn it. Give us drop tanks, Gaijin, they look so frickin' cool. The other differences you might notice are in the visual model. So for one, we have these 2 little bulges here, which I do not know what they are for. Potentially it's for a new radar. The S does have a different radar to the P, or perhaps they're just ammo storage for a centrally mounted 30mm. The second difference is in the nose, and this once again ties back to the radar. The MiG-19S does not have that bulge in the nose inlet, which is the MiG-19P's RP1 Izumrud radar. I have no idea if I pronounced that even remotely correctly. So you lose the big chunk and gain 2 smaller chunks. So with increased speed and handling capability and the option for use as a close air support jet, although not exactly a very good one, does this mean that Germany is once again receiving the best jet in the game, even though it's not but another variant of some other nation's plane? Perhaps, but it's not as cut and dry as that. So while the S model does achieve a top speed greater than our current in-game variant by just over 50 kph, which does bring it closer to the top speed of the F-100 Super Sabre, it loses the ability to carry any air-to-air missiles. This variant never fitted them. Now, I've seen a lot of people still talking about how missiles are nothing but a way to make enemies turn and lose speed so that you can clean them up with cannons, and I've spoken before about why I do not believe this to be the case. With jets likely proceeding further and further into the modern age in future updates, I think the R3Ss will be sorely missed on this model. At the very least, the lack of them will make the MiG-19S the only Tier 6 jet not to be fitted with guided weaponry of any kind, which is sort of a shame. Now for the next thing I want to talk about in this video. This one's out a tad later than planned, so it's barely an announcement anymore. Might as well talk about something worthwhile. This is something we're going to have to get used to. Germany receiving other nations' tech, and annoyingly enough, I can see it spreading to ground forces too. Germany never mass-produced any domestically designed aircraft after World War II, unless you want to count the Donia Alpha Jet or Panavia Tornado, both of which were co-developed with other nations. This means that the German air tree, at least from 9.0 onwards forever, is going to be made up of other nations' tech, and I can see it spreading evenly among East and West Germany. Just like the F-104 Starfighter and F-4 Phantom will be joined by MiG-21 Fishbeds and even up to MiG-29 Fulcrums. On the ground, I still see it as likely that Germany will get a T-55 and T-72M at some point, and this gives us an interesting point to talk about. Germany gets to double dip, utilising both Soviet and NATO technology within single lineups. Currently, this has only been the case for Air RB, and so hasn't really been an issue, except that the same team gets to make use of both MiGs and Sabres no matter who they're fighting with or against, but that does happen with Russia and America being teamed up together often enough. What happens when each and every player gets to choose whether to bring out a Leopard 2A1 or T-72M, depending on the match, map, etc., or die in one and come back in the other? Bringing out the F-4 Phantom or MiG-23 depending on what the situation calls for, having a Leopard 1A3 for aggressive manoeuvres and a T-55 for defensive play. That's going to make Germany a seriously powerful nation to play, and honestly, it's a wee bit unfair. Now, I know that the German fans among you are going to say, oh, well, Germany used this stuff IRL, so they should have access to it. But I noticed that these are the same people saying that the Leopard 2A5 should be added alongside the Challenger 2 because they're of a similar time frame, and using the excuse, it's not our fault, Germany just developed better stuff. You can't dip your hands in both pots, guys. I think we need to be looking at ways to seamlessly deny German players the ability to switch between East and West German tech at the same time. This is already something people have talked about with teams, putting all the MiG-15 best players on the other team to the CL-13 players, but if it does come to ground forces, then it's going to have to work that way with an individual lineup. You have to deny players the ability to line up certain vehicles with certain others, which is not something we currently see. Say they'd not be able to put a T-72 or MiG into their lineup if they already have any West German tech in it. This creates problems lower in the battle ratings though, because what do you do at 7.7? Should you deny Germany the ability to have the Maus and Leopard 1 in the same lineup? I don't think that would work. Should we make Nazi German tech completely neutral? That seems kind of disingenuous to history and really says a lot about where the focus of the game is if World War II era tech is almost completely swept aside. What about something like the Mi-24 Hind? Could you only take that out with T-55s and T-72s? That doesn't seem balanced either, with an extremely small lineup. But even if that's the case, teams currently are frequently still made up of Leopard 2s and T-80s, with Russia and Germany fighting together against America and Britain, and other nations fitting in wherever. I think the main issue is that players have an easy way to play both sides with Germany, which really is not fair. Having a single tech tree able to research both F-4 Phantoms and MiG-21s consecutively, that's just not going to work. I can see a T-55 and T-72M being high tier premiums, seeing as Germany did and does develop plenty of their own ground tech, but in the air? Nothing. They get the unfair advantage of being able to use whichever side takes their fancy at any time, and as we get into the realms of later jets with strong fighter and ground attack capability on the same plane, it's going to seem a little, well, maybe not overpowered, but very desirable. People have talked in the past about splitting off East and West German tech trees in the same way that helicopters are split off from the current orders of tech trees. This would mean players would have to choose to progress down either line. However, this currently doesn't limit lineups with helicopters. You can put the Mi-24 and BO-105 into the same lineup with your Leopard 2 and use your MiG-15 best for close air support along with any amount of Nazi German tech that you want to bring into top tier to meme the Abrams. I'm looking at you, Sturmpanzer. See what I mean though? Germany gets to double dip, play both sides. I don't know how we fix this, but in my personal opinion it does need to be fixed. Other nations typically will only be playing one side. I know Japan is likely to get an F-4 Phantom, just as an example, along with their own domestically designed Mitsubishi F1. Eventually, if we get to modern jets, they'll get their own Viper, the Mitsubishi F2. But Germany's really the only nation that gets to dip their hands so thoroughly into both barrels. Until we get Tornadoes and Eurofighters and such, most of Germany's jets will be Soviet designs, while all their ground force tech tree will be NATO focused, besides maybe the T-55 and T-72, and once again, they could be high tier premiums. So here's what I want you lads to do. Get commenting, let me know just what you think about this. Do you believe Germany should get to double dip like this without anything changing? And if so, why? How do you think we could fix this? What mechanics could be introduced? How would the game change? I want you lads to discuss in the comments what you think should happen here. Oh, and please be civil, don't go looking to start fights. At the end of the day, it is only a video game. about pieces of machinery. Anyway lads, that is going to be it for this video. I sincerely hope you have enjoyed and that you leave a like if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that notification bell, join the 360 squad, come follow me on all the social media links in the description below, come join the koala tree, and if you'd like to support the channel further, please feel free to check out my Patreon. I really appreciate the support. Anyway, tomorrow we're going to be doing that custom battle livestream event, so I will be posting a video announcement here when we go live, but until then lads, keep your bagpipes to hand, keep your kilt on, and I shall see you next video. I say a wee thank you to these lads for supporting me on Patreon: S Eagle Nuts, DA261, Latvian Wolf, Gisli Arson, and Dark Recon. You lads are bra. If you wish to join them, come check out the link in the description below.